Sorry, I was muted. My name is Christian Stovall, the American Heirs, and the founder of the FAIRE, where we're setting the record straight and enlightening the world about the true identity of the American Negro. I was thinking, since it's late night, we're going to start calling these late night gatherings the hush harbors. If you guys are familiar with hush harbors, those are our late night meetings where we'd be able to talk about traditions, secret information. Hush harbors. It was both because, one, we're busy all day working for people, which we're still doing, okay? And then as well as, I mean, this is the reason why they were doing, why sundown towns were a thing, right? They didn't want any of the Negroes to be up at night planning, talking, especially because it's like, you know, people are very, when you're living in a foreign land, which was essentially the settlers' reality, it's scary, it's spooky. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? We got to make sure all these these people are asleep at night. So anyway, welcome to the Hush Harbor. I was just going to, before we move on to the movie Trolls, which is coming up, we're going to talk a lot about that. I was going to just go over some of the Easter eggs that we did not talk about in the movie Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, yeah, so if you guys have never heard this secret, this big secret we're talking about, is that, you know, we have been taught complete lies about American history. And the truth is that when the colonists came here and they reached the American shores, they found brown people, black people, the people that they were calling the N-word, and Reconstruction, slavery. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay. But Reconstruction, these great migrations, all of these things, the lynchings, the Jim Crow, these are all just what we can remember from our colonization. And that's very apparent in all of these movies, okay? And so let's go over. So in that movie Wreck-It Ralph, it's about these two arcade game characters who are marginalized. They are bullied by the rest of the characters in their, their own respective games. And basically what we find out is, although these people were like, hold on a second. Okay. So these two arcade game characters, they've been marginalized, and we find out that actually they're the rulers of their game. Like Vanellope, she wasn't allowed to race. They had these like no glitch signs. I'll show you guys. I wasn't planning on putting this up, but let's get into it. We're here. Okay. And we liken that to the no colors allowed. And just like in the movie and just like in real life, the people who are being called glitches and whatnot, we're actually, the game is about us. We are the Americans. And that's what we're doing here at the fair, is we are standing on being Americans. The Black Americans are actually well, I'll just let the foundation speak for itself. Let me just play that, and then we'll get into the Easter eggs, and then we'll get off because it's late at night and I'm a little tired. But I also realize it's like, it's the same thing like our ancestors in the past too. It's like they had these hush harbors. It's because it's like, even if they were tired at the end of the day, to be able to talk about things, to figure out what they were going to do about the situation. So let's get into it. Let's see.
Who are the original Americans? History has been rewritten, but the truth remains. The Foundation for American Indian Restoration and Education, or simply the FAIRE, is here to set the record straight. Our foundation is simple. The FAIRE stands on its signature original American identifiers to define what an original American truly is. Our mission is to uncover the truth, reconnect descendants, and restore a lost heritage. Through our FAIRE Original American identifiers, we reveal the true identity of the original Americans. The emblem of America. The emblem of America is an allegorical figure from the British Museum and is noted to be an ethnic representation of the American people. So what exactly is an American? The definition of American. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary defines an American as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Colonial and U.S. Census Records. Early U.S. Census records show that for the first 70 years, only two racial categories existed: colored and white. Who were these colored people? The FAIRE asserts that they were the original inhabitants of this land. DNA. Ancestry.com DNA analysis labels the only communities for the region of indigenous North America as either African American or European settler. Surprisingly, there aren't any Native American communities listed for these lands, leaving the African American communities, the only ones given the nationality American, proving that those labeled as African American today are the true original Americans. Your ancestry holds the key. The FAIRE encourages everyone to research their genealogy, connect with historical records, and rediscover their true roots. Every generation carries a piece of the story, one that deserves to be reclaimed. Join us in reclaiming history. Visit the FAIRE today. Connect with your roots and restore your identity.
So there we go. We Black people in America, we are actually the Americans. There aren't any other Americans for those lands. When we came from the South, we had always been there. People had settled. They had actually encroached upon our American lands, and Ancestry.com's data actually proves that. So let's get into a little bit of these Easter eggs. I don't know. So, I'll just play this a little bit. So, like I said, Wreck-It Ralph, he was beaten by the police, chased by the police. He wasn't allowed to come to the party. He lived on the outskirts in the brick dump, okay? And then at the end of the movie, they play this song, okay? So I'll play the song. It's only a few seconds, 30 seconds or so. And then I'll get into the Easter eggs. Let's give a little bit of
Wreck-It Ralph is a giant of a man, 9 feet tall with really big hands, living in a stump on his very own land. Living in a stump on his very own land. In his own land. In his own land. In his own land.
Yes, you heard that right. Ralph, the one who's been beaten by the police, the one who lives in the ghetto, he is actually the landowner. Okay, they said he is living on his own land, and then they have this part where they say, he was minding his own business on the day they came. They showed a piece of paper saying eminent domain. Why are they talking about something like eminent domain in a children's movie? Okay. So that's what we do at the FAIRE. We like to use these movies to teach American history. So a few of the hello to people watching. Hi, you guys. So one of these Easter eggs is the Oh Susanna song. So let me see. You guys ready?
I don't think such a game exists, Ralph.
Oh, come on. You know people. There's gotta be.
Need a root beer. Coming. Hold that thought. Okay, as you were saying.
I was saying.
So it says, I jumped aboard the telegraph and traveled down the river. the electric fluid magnified and killed 500 N-words. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things you can get from that, right? One is people don't realize how we and still are, we're so numerous here as far as like our population. They were, singing songs about wanting to kill us at the hundreds of a time. Okay. And two, did you guys know that the Oxford English Dictionary, they have a definition for the N-word? And I will play a little bit of that so you guys can see. I'll just get into that.
The N-word. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the N-word was used to describe dark-skinned people of any origin. But in early U.S. history, it was most commonly used to refer to the American Indians. That means the people that were called the N-word in the past were not from Africa. They were in fact the original Americans. The truth was hidden, but it can never be erased. The FAIRE is here to set the record straight. Join us today in reclaiming our nationality.
Hey, peace, cousin. Peace, Verena fam. Hey, what's good? Solo chill. Okay, so we're just establishing. We're getting through the Easter eggs of Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, so we looked at the O Susanna and how they're playing the song that has this verse in it that we're never taught. Oh, I'm so happy. I've been good. I've been putting together this foundation for us. Where we're establishing the truth and we're standing on who we are as Americans. And you can find us at fairerules.org or our YouTube channel, YouTube FAIRE, FAIRE rules. I should put that down and post that, huh? Hey, what's good, George Richard? So yeah, what was I saying? FAIRE rules. Okay, yeah. And you can find more information on the site. So what we're doing is we're gathering, we're unifying. We are setting the record straight for everyone. No longer are we going to, allow people to dictate who we are. And so, yeah, we're the Americans, and we're proving that using our original American identifiers, like the definition of an American, okay, and the emblem of America. So we'll get into that. So then we talked about the N-word and how that, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, it was usually in reference to, in early U.S. history, to the American Indians, okay? That was the reason why they were racist against us. Because they moved into our neighborhoods and chased us out at time. I mean, there's so much that's happened, and we're going to get into specific stuff. So I was thinking about that too, about talking about each one of these counties and regions from the DNA journeys from Ancestry.com, and just getting historical accounts. What happened in Russell and Barber County? Okay. What happened in Madison, Walker, and Montgomery County? Okay. What happened in Grimes? So we'll be able to start to talk about that and, really be able to correlate the Negroes with the Americans, according to Ancestry.com, and our white counterparts in these cities as settlers. It changes the way that we're going to look at history, because, and it has to. There is no way that we're going to move into into the future without us, let me see, actually addressing the fact that we've always been here. It doesn't make sense for us not to. Oh, okay. Yeah, much love and respect. I'm so happy you guys enjoyed. Do you guys like it? You guys start to comment too, so we can get back into the algorithm and share with more people. Because what I was saying in the last stream is that really this is a collective effort, okay? And we are, the first responders. Ooh, I'm liking that. I wasn't thinking about that, but that's what's coming through right now. We're the first responders. And as we are now armed with this this information, all we have to do is stand up. Okay, and this is getting me into the more of the Wreck-It Ralph. I don't even have those clips. Maybe we can listen to it from another one. But there's I'm thinking about the stuff I was saying. Well, this is truth. It's the way. But there's a lot into the movie about in the movie Wreck-It Ralph about how all we have to do is stand up and then the game is over. Okay, all we have to do is cross that finish line. And it's been overdue. I was listening to some Martin Luther King speeches and stuff. He was in Grenada, I think Grenada, Mississippi, Grenada, and he was talking about wanting freedom now. And it's like, what is holding us back from being free? And one of it is the fact that we're not understanding that we used to live here free. We were the free inhabitants, okay? And over time, we became more and more. It was good. Richmond, Virginia in the house, okay? That was probably your cousin. Welcome, you guys. Join too. I'm going to send out emails to everybody who is a part of the Our Unified Coalition page, because I restarted. The FAIRE is a fresh new page. But yeah, we should invite all of our friends and supporters from over there to join here, because what we're going to start doing is there's so much. I'm so excited to start to share with you guys about what we're going to be doing moving forward, as far as how we're going to make change, how we're going to impact our communities, how we're going to be able to finally set the record straight, yes, but reestablish our nationality and our identity, so then we can talk real stuff. Us as Black people in America, we haven't been able to truly advocate for ourselves, because we have been taught that we came here from somewhere else. So we're thinking we're just like everybody else. Oh, well, we're here in this foreign country trying to make it in the white man's world. But it's not. We're finding out that the white men and women, the settlers, are not only newcomers to this land, since we're the Americans. Okay, thank you, Ancestry.com. Since we are the Americans, so the breakdown with this is that we're finding out that there aren't any indigenous communities for this land, the South, where Black people come from. And the only two communities or DNA journeys that they have listed for those lands are African Americans and European settlers, okay? And that correlates also with the census records. At first, it was just Black and white, and then they had American Indian, and then they started to add in with Asian, and you see what I'm saying? And now we start to look at these people and the mixes in as the original people, but it was originally just us. And that's why all of the racism, and not to say other people didn't experience racism, white supremacy and racism can, it was good, Rodney Gilmore, it touches everybody. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, in the South, if you were driving from town to town, you weren't going to come across any other people, but it was either you're going to come across some colored folks or a white part of town. And that was incredibly scary to. That's why we created stuff like the Green Book, right? Where we are trying to say where are safe places for us to stop. Okay, but we're finding out now that we are Americans, and that's important. That's important for us to know, because so much has happened, and we're not realizing this whole entire time, as we're fighting for rights and our dignity, that this is our land, this is our home, this is our. And now we're being told that we're from someplace else. Okay, that's crazy. So let's get into another Easter egg is that they make us the villain, okay? And that's the same thing with the glitch, right? They made Vanellope the glitch, but literally, but Ralph, he used to go to these, what they called bad anon meetings. They were like, Alcoholics Anonymous for villains. And I broke down a little bit of that. So let's watch that scene really quickly. Oh, Dylan, oops. Okay, great. Now, I've mentioned this many times before, that in these movies, they always make us so-called Black people the villains. Ask the eldest person in your family, if they're from America and the South, what kind of people were here when they were growing up, and they will tell you there was only black and white. And the secret is that black folks are actually here first, and the newcomers are actually the colonists, the so-called white people, meaning that we have been colonized by a foreign entity. And through that colonization, we have left our own institutions to join and assimilate into their institutions. We just forgot that we are our own separate nation. And through that, we no longer own anything. I mean, we don't own our own TV stations, radio stations. We have zero media outlet right now. And think about it. If now everything that we see on the TV is coming from the colonists' perspective, and they always paint us to be the villain, and we are rooting for the heroes, then we find ourselves to be in a situation where we're rooting against ourselves.
In the case of an American Negro, it comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. That the Indians were you.
There's a scene in the movie where Ralph goes to a Bad Anon meeting. Now, these Bad Anon meetings are like a support group for all of the other villains from these arcade games. Now, if you don't believe me that they always make the villains so-called black people, let's take a closer look at the villains that they highlighted in this meeting. Okay, let's check it out. So the first villain we're going to take a look at is Zangief. Do not be confused by the fact that he has pale skin. When we look up the definition of Zangief, it says, it is derived from the Persian word Zangi, meaning dark-skinned or a Negro. When you look up the word Zangi, it does indeed say that it means nigger. So yes, upon closer inspection, this villain, Zangief, represents the so-called black people because his name literally means nigger. Now, while we're on the topic of the N-word, did you guys know that according to the Oxford English Dictionary, definition 3A for nigger, it says that in early U.S. history, when they were talking about niggers, they were actually talking about the American Indians.
Do you know who you are?
In his own land. In his own land. In his own land.
For the second villain, they have chosen to highlight a zombie. Now, in previous decodes, we've already established that zombies represent so-called black people. In fact, those Disney movies, Zombies 1 and 2, are all about so-called black people. I mean, goodness, the whole integration story, the fact that the zombies were really good at sports. There was so many things that made the zombies so-called black people, including the fact that they can dance.
How's it better to have zombies at prom? Our dance game's strong. What?
So not only are zombies so-called black people, but they have this zombie carrying these hatchets. In fact, they even mention the hatchets before this scene is over. Let's check that out.
Hey, zombie, don't forget your hatchet. There you go.
Okay, I'm going to keep going with that real quick. Not only are zombies so-called black people, but they have this zombie carrying these hatchets. In fact, they even mention the hatchets before this scene is over. Let's check that out.
Hey, zombie, don't forget your hatchet. There you go.
We used to call them tomahawks. And of course, that's in reference to the peace ceremony, which is burying the hatchet. And that's in American Indian tradition.
Jump on it! Jump on it! Jump on it! Unga, 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 unga.
The magnificent suits we so enjoy. For the past several Fat Tuesdays, we've had the honor of covering the Ninth Ward Black Hatchet Tribe. They're amongst the prettiest, but the pandemic has affected them as well.
It's affecting us the same way it's affecting most of America. I mean, a lot of us are out of work, dealing with the self-quarantine and everything.
Now, this is what a true Indigenous American looks like. This is Big Chief Dowie Robert from the 9th Ward Black Hatchet Tribe. Now, we have just forgotten that hatchets have anything to do with us, but that was the tool that we used. We used it for hunting, we used it as a weapon. So the other thing I wanted us to note was that their tribe is called the 9th Ward Black Hatchet Tribe. Did you know that according to the Colorado Encyclopedia, the United States government declared through the Indian Appropriations Act of 1871 that the true indigenous people of America were to become wards of the United States government. This act also paved the way for other laws that granted the federal government increased power over the land and lives of indigenous people. So go back and check your ancestors' records. Check the census records. See if they were so-called Negro or colored people living in wards. If so, those are the indigenous people of America. Here is the 5th Ward of West Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here is the 12th census, the 6th Ward of Leavenworth, Kansas. Mind you, Schedule number 1, those Schedule 1 populations are for free people.
Are y'all hearing this?
And lastly, this is Henrico County, Virginia, Clay Ward.
Stand up, Leavenworth.
Yes, we became wards of the state, wards of the government after 1871. Okay, so that was another one of our, what do you call it? Easter eggs from Wreck-It Ralph. Like I said, we're going to move on to the trolls. So I'm going to show you guys one more and then we'll get on out of here. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. I think you guys are going to like this next one. Where to go? Let's see. Why am I not? Ooh. Here we go. After this Badanon meeting, Ralph and the other villains leave through these power cords and go into this power strip, these outlets, and into what they call in this movie the Game Central Station, which is fashioned after Grand Central Station. And as soon as they enter into Game Central Station, they zero in on this outlet. Now, this outlet was so symbolic. Outlets represent power, represent source. Every outlet has a feminine and masculine piece, and that represents creation. Now, this outlet says USA, right? So they're giving us an area, a place, what they're talking about. But in even bigger lettering, it has the word more in what could be interpreted to be like a scroll. Now, they're letting us know who the true owners of America are, right? The Moors, if you will. Now, they also have a hieroglyph, and that's also showing us that ancient America has more of a Negro origin than they want to ever let us know about. Now, on top of all of this, after they show us this outlet with the words more in the United States and this hieroglyph, the frame pans over. Now listen closely to the very next words that are spoken. Yes, you heard that right. All aboard the Soul Train. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Soul Train was a show that was started in the 1970s. It is specifically an American Negro show. So that was Disney's way of letting us know, yes, the connection between Moors and America. That culture is something that we are very, very familiar with. We are the soul people. We are the soul of America. And this is our country. Now you have to ask yourself, why is Disney putting this in this movie? Why would they put those words more? Why are they putting this hieroglyph? What does this have to do with anything? And why, after showing us all this imagery and symbolism, would the very next words be all aboard the Soul Train of all things? Shall we hear it one more time?
all we have to do is stand up.
Okay. It damn near makes me want to cry, bro. Understanding what time it is in just everything that we've had to go through, or just the soul of us. Oh, that was the other thing. I don't want you guys to get hung up on labels or things. Let me see. Hey, Red Hawk! Oh my gosh, what's good? You're a great lead, Mr. I'm so excited to see you back on this. Hey, 10 toes down. 10 toes down. Join us on our other YouTube channel for the foundation that we're putting together. It's called FAIRErules.org. Can I write it down here? Oh, that's the website. But you can also find us at youtube.com/FAIRERULES. I missed you guys too. It's been forever. But so yes, we're talking about Wreck-It Ralph, and we're talking about just the fact that, you know what I mean, they talk about these little things all the time, all aboard the Soul Train. I mean, I wish I could tell all of our ancestors throughout all of each journey, you're an American. Do you remember? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just it. I love you guys. We're going to do some more of these. I just realized if we, you know what I mean, if people are up, we'll have these hush harbors and we'll get in some of this information. There's a lot that I want to fill us in on, and so that we can continue to get going. Oh, also sign the petitions. Let me, if you guys haven't already, we're revamping the one that we were doing before, so that we can put pressure on Ancestry.com to have some transparency about the ancestral journeys. So I'll play that and then we'll head out. Let me see where it goes.
For years, we've been told a version of history that simply isn't true. But what if I told you that the proof of who the true original Americans are has been hiding in plain sight inside Ancestry.com's own data? Most people only pay attention to the ancestral regions in their DNA results. But there's another section most people overlook, something called ancestral journeys. And this section tells a very different story. In the region known as Indigenous America's North, there are only two community groups listed: African American and European settler. No Native American communities. None. That means, according to Ancestry.com, the only groups historically rooted in this land are Black Americans and European settlers. This lines up exactly with the 1828 Webster's Dictionary definition of American, which states an American is a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So who are the present-day, copper-colored Aboriginals from these lands? The African Americans. And who are the descendants of the European arrivals? The settlers. How do we know this is the truth? Because in Ancestry.com's own data, they are giving Black Americans the nationality American, while labeling their oppressors settlers. The truth has been in front of us all along. This isn't just about one group. This is about correcting history for everyone. Ancestry.com's own research confirms what has been hidden for centuries, but they refuse to acknowledge it. That's why we're calling on Ancestry.com to tell the truth. Our petition demands full transparency and an end to this misclassification. Because history belongs to all of us, and it's time to set the record straight. Sign the petition now. Share this video. Because the truth matters to all of us.
Okay, so you guys, if you guys haven't already, you can sign the petitions. We're also putting pressure on, well, even just, I thought about this too. It's like, it doesn't have to be a pressure. We'll have a conversation, and if we're having pushback, then it'll become more pressure. But you guys can sign that too, just in case. But I'm realizing that it's like, especially after we've been mistreated, we're like, we're sick of it too. Sometimes I'm noticing, like, I don't know, where we're I don't know. I don't want to use those words. I'm just realizing that sometimes it's like we could not only can, but we will. The table is open for us to have conversations. We've established who we are. We're the Americans, right? And this is what we're going to be using to be able to teach others, so that we can individually become, like I said, we're the front line of the FAIRE. And I do it. I go around. I'll show you guys a little bit. When I'm telling people about the foundation, I have like our little brochures. Okay, I'm not gonna show too much, but okay. And so it's like, if you guys want to be a part of this movement, join on the channel. It's called FAIRErules.org. We're empowering our community. Share this with other people. As we continue to partner with folks and whatnot, this is going to be one of the most empowering things that Black people can get involved with. You know what I mean? We're going to be able to bridge the gap, use these lessons, build curriculum so that we can teach our youth in after school programs, and as well as eventually work towards putting this into schools. Okay. Under the Fair Education Act, it's our right to be able to dictate what we want our kids to be taught. Okay, like I said, you don't understand. Like, sometimes it's like we're on this. I've been on this journey for the past few years, and I'll be at the right place at the right time to hear somebody randomly say that, and next thing you know, it's like, okay, we've picked up that little gem. So that's another thing. I've been collecting these little gems of, like, how we need to position ourselves, what we need to do so we can, because at the end of the day, it's our God-given right, our birthright, to be able to live in freedom, and as well as stand up for ourselves when we're facing extreme erasure at this point. And I thought about it too, because I was like, oh, Christian, are you coming down on like the Native Advisory Council harshly? And I'm like, no, people had the audacity to say that they don't want their children to see dark skin images, basically, as well as, you know what I mean? To go ahead and write their letters and actually get plaques of it and put it next to the statue and say their thing. So it's like, we have a right to have a position on the situation as well too. And we cannot stand for the erasures of our images. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you haven't watched the last live stream, I was at a field trip with my daughter a month or so ago, and we went to a museum, the Oakland Museum of California, and in their indigenous section, the only image that was dark skinned was this cigar store Indian. Okay, and we're finding out that the Native Advisory Council for the museum once it says, abolishing the statue will honor all indigenous communities, talking about the commodification of the tobacco, or that was in yes, and then continues to be inappropriate, provoking negative, discriminatory imagery. Like, what are you talking about? And then also, even worse, what these images do to Native children. As inaccurate and offensive as these cigar store statues are, Native children are still taught that such images are meant to represent them, Indians. Okay, do you know what that does? Well, it should, reaffirm who they are. Okay, because all you would have to do is look at because if we're talking, because we're in the Bay Area and we're talking about the California Bay Area Indians, I should have put a side by side now that I think about it. But let's take a look at this beauty. Okay, she's dark skinned, chocolate, and so were the Ohlone. So I don't understand, who are these Native councils really representing? Because here we go. Here's the Ohlone. it's an accurate depiction. And so it's like that's what we're doing here at the fair, not only because there's a lot that we want to do, and I don't want it to seem like that's all we're going to be doing is picking at stuff. No, I want to be able to establish our curriculums. I want to also be able to I don't know. This is our way of being able to right so many wrongs, because we can stand together and say, hey, we're the Americans. But yeah, this, I don't understand what the issue is with Native children seeing who they're saying that they are. But now, because they've been mixed in so much, it's like now they're just actually representing the conquistador, but from the position of a Native. Because if they don't want people to see what they look like, that's not okay. You can't. How are you see how dark skinned these people were? Okay. So that's another thing that we're doing. And so also, if you guys have issues, I mean, that's another thing of why we do want to get into the advocacy, because it's like, who's here to stick up for us? Okay, we're going through it. We don't. We've been stripped of our heritage, and so much is happening as far as like disenfranchisement. And like I was talking about that little girl at my children's school, and how, you know, she gets picked on, and how, I mean, I don't want to say too much, you know, like I don't want to dox anybody, but one of my children told me that she felt bad about the color of her skin. You know what I mean? I'm like, if that person heard that, then that means that was said out loud in a classroom setting. Like, who is there to, you know what I mean? For her, she doesn't understand why people are treating her differently. Okay. And so that's what we're teaching about, is the reason why the racism has always been against Black people. We were the ones put on, you know, hung from trees. The signs were against us, the no colored signs. Okay. You know what I mean? They didn't have, I mean, okay, that's mind you, there have been signs about, you know, all different types of people, now that I think about it. But what I'm trying to talk about is like, as far as the racism, the racialized hatred in this country has always been white and Black. And we're finding out that it's because our lands have been encroached upon. Okay. So that's another thing. I wonder if, I didn't say I was going to get on for long, but now I'm getting into the encroachment. It makes me want to hop into the trolls. Okay. Cause the trolls talk about the encroachment perfectly. Let's see. Child, oh my God. Let's see. I'm like, am I doing it? Are we getting into that right now? Let's see. Okay, well, you know, I'll show. We'll start off with this. First, this is right now we're going to be talking about encroachment. So basically, what they were doing, they were circling our towns. They were they would live on the outskirts, which now we would call the suburbs. Okay, and we lived in the inner city, the hub. Okay, which was just the actual town, and they were building around and settling around. And our hoed ground, our plantations. So people don't understand the stories and what really happened in American history. But once you really start to think about it, it's actually pretty cool to understand what has happened. Even I was watching this clip earlier about this. I don't know what town it was. I think someplace in Mississippi. And the older Black lady, she was like, yeah, we don't know what we would do without the white folks, you know. And then the white lady's like, we love them. Well, I mean, you know, that lady there, she done nursed 6 of my babies. And I'm like, and then she was talking about, she's like, yeah, those are some good darkies. Okay. So it's like, you guys don't understand. It was just white and Black, you know, and the Black people, we were always here. Yeah, I'm sure the people listening maybe do. But if you have not, that's what we're talking about. So basically, they talk about this all the time. I'll show you guys a little bit from Peter Pan real quick.
Blackfoot tribe belongs to the Algonquin group. Quite savage, you know.
Let's go get him.
Gentlemen, first we must plan our strategy.
What strategy?
A plan of attack. The initial phase is an encircling maneuver. Remember, The Indian is cunning, but not intelligent. Therefore, we simply surround them and take them by surprise.
Okay, so they're talking about surrounding us, and they talk about this in the trolls. We're gonna get into a little bit of the trolls. We can do it again tomorrow too, because I realize we just need to start chatting about this. We need to get into it, so that we can continue to do what we gotta do. I think I know what you're talking about. Which I'm on. The Peter Pan. So yeah, they were talking about. They said the Blackfoot tribe, and then they mentioned Algonquin. And they need their plan of attack. The plan of attack was to encircle us. And that's what we see also in Ancestry.com's data about the communities in America. It was just white and black, and they are making it clear who the original people are by giving us the nationality American. Are you guys hearing this? Every black person in America should be hearing this. And that's another thing. You guys would give me some feedback about like what times we should do this, and I'll try to get on different. But I realize it's like I said, we'll be doing these hush harbors. That's what I was telling you guys. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to the hush harbor, where we're going to be talking about very important information late at night for those of us who can only catch it at night. So yes, we were the Americans. They were encircling our town. So here's even the lands that we're at right here. And here they come encircling. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Okay. And then here's us in Oklahoma and Texas. And then they came and they settled this whole area. And that's how we became under their, it's basically like we were prisoners of war under their military control because they came here with their guns. And, next thing you know, if we're trying to pass between our lands, we're now having to go into white territories now. Okay, this reminds me of when I was reading from this, these are like the colonial Virginia papers on the National Park Service.gov, NPS.gov, when they're talking about Jamestown and the Indians and stuff. They started talking about how like when they started to take towns, the English, after that, the Indians couldn't come back. Okay, what is that called? What do we know that as in, regular history is no colors allowed. It's all the same. It was just black people. And that's the reason why, because it's like, when you think about it, who is not allowed back in the South? And the reason why is because we're, it was originally our lands. They're always afraid that we're going to come and have some sort of uprising and take our towns back. In all actuality, we're walking in righteousness. And so really all we have to do is continue to share with people the fact that we're the original Americans, share with people the good news about the Ancestry.com. You can find more information on the fairrules.org. Oh, I did say I was going to show you guys a little trolls. Maybe we'll do a teaser. Do you guys want to do a teaser? And then we'll get into it more tomorrow since we're hitting almost an hour. Okay, let's see. Let's see. What are we doing?
The most miserable creatures in all the land. And once they saw how happy the trolls were, they wanted some of that happiness for themselves.
Oh my god.
Eating a troll made them feel so happy. They started a tradition. Once a year, every year, the Bergens would gather around the troll tree to taste happiness. On a holiday they called Trollstice.
Okay, so what we're just seeing, here, let me show you guys. No. Hold on a second. No. I'm like, no. Oh, no. Hold on a second, you guys. I'm gonna watch it one more time. 1 second. I'm not finding my. Note on that. Maybe Spirit is telling me to save it for tomorrow. I guess I can. 1 second. But in that opening scene, I'll just give a little bit of a breakdown. Basically, they're establishing the trolls represent the Negroes, the Black people. Why? Because they can sing, they can dance. We were just talking about that when we were watching the clips about the villains, right? And how the zombies were the villains, and we connected it to the Disney zombies and how they can sing, they can dance. Their dance game is strong. What? Go, 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 right? Okay, they're always making fun of us, and not making fun of us, but they're, highlighting our character, that we sing, we dance, we're entertaining, okay? So the trolls were happy, and we come from joy, okay? We were so happy, and that's why we were hospitable. That's what Southern hospitality was all about, is because we lived in such abundance and so much happiness. We were free. We weren't going to jobs all the time. We used to fish, and we used to, have our farms, and, we would spend time with one another, and we had our spiritual practices. Like, it was different. Sorry, it's like it's like, oh my God. But people are so ready for that. So a lady at one of the parent groups I go to, she was talking about wanting to all types of sort of collective thinking, and I love it. You know what I mean? People are ready to get back to the land and to tribal living and being free, because it's the time of our restoration. Again, welcome to the Jubilee. If you guys haven't heard already, we are living in a Jubilee year. The Jubilee year is the year when the slaves are freed, property is restored to its original owners, and the Pope was just, announcing and ushering in the Jubilee year at the end of 2024. And so, that's part of our duty, is to spread the good news. Okay. Noel. Okay. This is good news to all the people. So, because it's like, if we don't know who we are, how could we even realize, one, that we're still enslaved in the system? And then two, we don't even realize that, the time for our redemption and restoration is now. Okay. But basically the other part about that is, we'll watch it one more time, and then I'll explain it, and then we'll go. I know I've been saying that.
They're the most miserable creatures in all the land. And once they saw how happy the trolls were, they wanted some of that happiness for themselves.
Oh my God.
Eating a troll made them feel so happy. They started a tradition. Once a year, every year, the Bergens would gather around the troll tree to taste happiness. On a holiday they called Trollstice.
Okay, hold on, guys. I was trying to see if I had those other ones, but no, it's okay. So you saw how at first they were all in the tree, and then they put the iron cage over it, and then they built the town around it. That is encroachment. But the trolls were there first. They were discovered. You heard what they said in the beginning of it, right? Discovered, that's another key word. The Black people, we were discovered here. We were here first, and then they came and started to settle and encroach our neighborhoods. Okay, I'll let you.
They're the most miserable creatures in all the land. And once they saw how happy the trolls were, they wanted some of that happiness for themselves.
Oh no, hold on. I'm realizing I didn't show the other part about the discovery. Maybe I.
But then one day, the trolls were discovered by a Bergen. The Bergens didn't know how to sing, or dance, or even hug. They were the most miserable creatures in all the land. And once they saw how happy the trolls were, they wanted some of that happiness for themselves.
They were discovered by the Bergens, okay? And then the rest of the scene gets even crazier. So we can get into that tomorrow or the next time I get a chance to get on. I love you guys all so much. I don't want anybody to worry. It's going to be good. As far as it's like, this is the beginning. We just got to continue to spread the truth. Our people need us right now. We have to continue to remind ourselves of that. Connect with us onto the other channel. Eventually, we'll just be going live from the FAIRE's channel, where we have all of our all the videos. You guys can share those videos with your family, your friends. You're talking about this. You're trying to explain to somebody, hey, we're really the original Americans. You can play some of those videos for them. Join our site. It's free. It's a not-for-profit foundation, which is housing my public ministry, which we're enjoying right now. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Let me see. I was over here in the media. I didn't see comment. That sounds like German nobility. Friday or Saturday nights. Okay, I'm living that. Okay, you were talking about the white woman in Mississippi. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it was on that channel. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It was called Hezekiah News. I love watching some of those older. Just it automatically connects you to just I don't know, a time where we were closer to our roots. And I don't know, some of us are really still close. Mm-hmm. It's good. I love it. But I was listening also, I was watching something, I don't remember what it was, but you know how like YouTube suggests videos next? All of a sudden I'm hearing, it was like a slave narrative, and hearing this man talk about, the guy asked him, the interviewer said, were you guys worked hard or was it reasonable? He was like, oh, reasonable. And it reminds me of some of the slave narratives I was reading from Virginia, and how they were talking about how they were like, I felt bad leaving. It was, and this person's owner, master was a woman too, a white woman. And she was like, cause she don't be doing us wrong. He was like, I want to be able to do my own thing now. And so it's like, you guys don't understand. It's the same thing we're going through right now. And, when people say, okay, I want to start to do something different, or I want to, become an entrepreneur, I want to leave the situation, become a farmer or homesteader or whatever. Like people are still, but it's like, it's harder now to understand that less people are trying to get their freedom. Okay. Because they don't understanding that what we're living in right now isn't free. But even looking at, like I said, the census records, originally the first census was in 1790 and all the way through till 1850. It wasn't until 1860 that the American Indian shows up on there, meaning that the American Negro predates any of these other races here in America. It was just us and them. Okay. And what's so crazy is what you'll see is, well, first, before I get into the other part, is the free people. There was, you see what I'm saying? There was only white and black, the blue is white, free white males and free white females, and then all other free persons, right? The free inhabitants and slaves. And I just showed you guys in that clip with Wreck-It Ralph about the tomahawks, the wards and stuff like that, that the Schedule 1 population. So if you're looking at your census records and they say Schedule number 1, those were free inhabitants. Okay. So like I'm trying to explain to you, we were once free. Nobody was going to come in here and tell us to do anything. We were just free. And so they try to make it seem like back then everybody was always in these chains and stuff. And not to say that there weren't chains in certain places, you know what I mean? But no, it was, I don't know how to explain it. So they have skewed our understanding of servitude, so that we don't realize how much of it we're still experiencing. And it's getting into everything, but I guess that's part of it. That's what Spirit wants to talk about too, especially if we're on the road to becoming we're on the road, like it's like one of those countdowns online where they're like on the road to 5K or on the road to whatever. We're on the road to freedom. We're walking in the freedom, right? What is it? I remember when I first started here years ago, that was my song. I'm gonna keep on. Why can't I think of the song? marching on the freedom land, right? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on to the freedom land. Yes, okay. That's where we're getting to. So you guys, again, tell people the good news. We are the front line of the fair, where we are setting the record straight. We're letting people know that we are the Americans. We have every right to reclaim our heritage. People are going to be so excited when they hear this, okay? And I think now more than ever, our support is going to be coming. It's going to pour in because people are going to realize, oh my God, we have been treating these people unfairly, and you know, and we didn't realize that it was their land. Good old Negro spiritualizers. I love it. It was spiritual. Okay, the Negro spirituals, you know, and we had a way of being able to connect with our soul using the vibration of our voices. In fact, they used to talk about like reading about the character of like the Virginia Indians, and I'm you know, American Indians in general, is they used to talk about how they were dark angels with lovely voices. I just love it, and I just loved hearing that. Like it's amazing, because then when you think about like all of our amazing singers here in America, like Aretha Franklin, and I mean, I'm not gonna go down the line of, you guys know, we got people, you know, who can sing, okay. I'm just having fun with this, okay. But and the, you know, that was something that they would note about us, is that we could sing. The original Americans can sing. Okay, where have you been? I'm living that. I've been around. I'm back. I mean, so basically, I moved to the Bay Area, back to my hometown, and just getting, you know, back in touch with people, understanding kind of like how we can change our situation. Like Spirit God has been guiding me on this incredible journey, and I've been able to just experience. Just it's like sometimes I'm there and I'm like, I don't know if I'm like, not that I'm not supposed to be there, but like, I don't know. I've been in just some very amazing places, like rooms where certain things have been discussed, and I'm just thinking, God has put me here for some reason. Because I'm like, why am I here right now? Do you know what I'm saying? And then next, you know, the gym comes, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is another way that what we can do. And so, like I said, join that channel, the website, Fair Rules. We'll be having conversations over there. Right now, we're talking about kind of like what is your, you know, what is something that you would like to advocate for, from the position of being an original American. That's the conversation that we're having in the group chat on the website, fairrules.org. There is genealogy resources. You guys can check that out. We're building that up, you know, as we go along, and connecting with other, you know, genealogy sites around the states, you know, so that we can, all we need to do is just connect with one another. And that's another thing I realized about all of this, one, the labels and how people want to be like, okay, we're here, we're this, we're that, we're that. All of those fights, all the infighting and stuff was just because when finally something came to establish, it's like they wanted to make sure that we would never be able to come together as a nation. And that's what we are. We are the original Americans of this land. And we have a collective history. We have a collective culture. We have a collective heritage. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're the original people who were called colored and all these labels, you know, the ones who went through Reconstruction, where they reconstructed slavery so that we're still in it and we don't realize it. And then we're the same ones who went through civil rights and Jim Crow, and we couldn't drive through the South because people had settled our lands, and they would kill Negroes if they were in those areas. Why? Because it's our land, not because we're from Africa. Why would they bring us here and then kick us out of the towns? No, what we're not understanding is when those instances of history, when those massacres and stuff happen, like Elaine, Arkansas, or we'll get into that. We'll get into the Red Summer again. But Lord knows, you guys know I'm gonna start getting real crazy. I'm trying to keep it cute. Y'all. But it's serious, okay? And we're just warming up, basically. Let us get back in time. The boys are back in town. But anyway, so yes, so you guys make sure that was another thing. Spirit was telling you guys to hit the notification bell, okay? So that when we go live again, we know, because as we get back in the groove of doing these again, we'll connect back to my Facebook again. Right now it's just on YouTube, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking it's very important that we share this even more within our local communities, okay? Because it's one thing to talk on YouTube where anybody can show up from who knows where around the world and they're just listening in. Some could be trolling, whatever, right? It's another thing when we are sharing our story and our truth with our family, friends, community members who, know and love us, okay? They're going to, you know what I mean? It's right now, and that's another thing. It doesn't really matter what happened. It does, okay? That's a different, when I'm hearing that, it's spiritual, that siren. Because what Spirit was saying is that, some things do need to be held accountable for, okay? So, some things have happened here unsanctioned, okay? And we also have things to say about that too. It's like we're begging and we're asking for things and we're not organized. We're not saying what we want. That we have to get serious about, what we're going to do, because I even said that I was talking to an elder of mine about I guess basically in California, I'm not laughing about this part. Now I'm remembering exactly what the context of the conversation is, and I'm like, this is really not funny. But basically, they raised the statutes of limitations for like students and whatever, if anything inappropriate happened with them and their teachers or staff or whatnot. And there's he said, thousands and thousands of cases open now, and he was like, and if everybody's asking for $1 million settlement or whatnot, he's like, it's gonna bankrupt our school systems in California and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, and to think they haven't even paid the Negro yet. He was like, that's never gonna happen. I'm like, yes, it is. And we have to understand that it's like, there is no way the louder that we get this voice out and we really get this truth out, because the proof is in the pudding, and Spirit has been showing us exactly what it is, so that everybody's very clear on who we are and who other people, not to say aren't, but it makes things very clear. Because basically what's happened is when they have taken over this narrative of being able to define what an American is, and they've been putting these movies out and showing us different images of what an original American looks like, right? They have made it easier, okay, now for more and more settlers to say, I'm Cherokee, I'm these things. That's cool, but if anybody is going to be claiming those bands, it's definitely going to be the people of those original American communities, the Black people, okay? Right, from Ancestry.com, where they're saying that all of these communities, there was either the Americans or the settlers. And if they can preface, you know what I mean, if they could put, because they're using African, okay, as a preface to the American, but if you can add American to African, you could have added American to settlers, American settlers, right? No, they're just settlers. They're not Americans, okay? And so what I'm trying to say is, every single, they went a few years ago, or within the past decade or so, they got on Kenya Moore from the Real Housewives of Atlanta for wearing indigenous headdress, saying that she was it was like cultural misappropriation. And I'm like, she's an American. So you understand what I'm saying? That's why we have to set the record straight and stand on that. And that's another thing. It's like, I can say anything, be like, no, we're not standing for this, we're not standing for that. But without you, you know what I mean? We need the lifeblood of our nation, okay, to understand what we're doing, to support, messages like this, messages like who, you know what I mean? Any that's why the foundation is here, and that's why it's a free service for our people, so that anybody who has a message, it's not, you know, I that was another thing watching Martin Luther King earlier in that clip, when I was like, there were so many people there in that room, and he was the main voice, okay, which is good. It's good to rally. We Black people need to learn the art of rallying, okay? That's just for real. But what I was going to say is, it's like, we need more voices. We need thousands of Martin Luther Kings at this moment. Each one of you guys is a Martin Luther King. We don't have to, I mean, because he became a martyr, and maybe we don't want to replace that on you. We don't have to. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying within that sense. And you guys know I overthink everything. Here I'm going again. Sorry. But do you understand what I'm saying? We are each Angela Davis, okay? We are each one of these figures who is going to enlighten our spheres of influence, okay? And that's what the foundation does, is it gives us short and to the point, setting the record straight clips, so that we can easily teach people. We can, you know, go around with our, you know, our foundational information and stuff like that. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're pushing forward. And I hope you guys like the fair. Like I said, tell me to leave comments. Oh, that was the other thing too. You know, you guys can even just comment, I'm an American. If you guys watch the stream, you guys got to the end, so that we can continue to have YouTube, you know, knock on the doors of our, you know, our tribe here, our soul tribe here on YouTube, so that more and more of us can join. I know it's late, and thank you guys so much. Like, we have 14 people here on the live right now, and it is 1 o'clock in the morning here in California. And so it's like, what, 4 on the East Coast? I love you guys. That's what I try to explain to some Black people. They did that to people of the land, not some Africans. Exactly. Well, and that's what and once we really start to understand what's going on, everything all actually becomes really clear. You know, when you're watching those old videos and people in the South, and you know what I mean, like, we're just the inhabitants, and that's why all the interactions happened with us. And then they switched it with other people's history, from like Mexico and the plains. But even, I mean, even the people in Mexico, the original inhabitants all over the earth were dark-skinned people, and basically mixed people from all over the world. You know, they have been taught more by their settler or conquistador, you know, parentage, and has been actually taught to look down on indigenous features and other, you know, dark-skinned people. But I mean, it's all part of it. I tell them I'm an Alabama American. I love that. I love it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and that's another thing. We that's just it. And we can't be waiting. Like, we have to recognize ourselves. And that's another thing. We put this information not just for our people, for other people, but for our people as well. You know, what we're providing here is undeniable proof of who we are, of who defining what an American is, and how that connects to us today. So that was another thing I wanted to ask you guys. So who do you guys feel like we need to start to talk to? Who is, because I haven't been around in years. Mob and Mike, hi Mob and if you watch the replay, but he was telling me about how he says about the you know, Pan-African and the FBAs, and like, I don't know what's going on, you know, and we can make some messages too, because it's like, at the end of the day, we present the information, and if people still don't want to listen to that, then perhaps some of these people who, you know, have been arguing or debating or whatever the situation, trolling, it's just trolls. Maybe it's just trolls. We're not realizing that. But we need to, you know, we need to get this to our people at once. I mean, especially because, oh gosh, this is getting long and it's late. I gotta get going, especially because I want to get up early. We do need to speak up. Yes. Some get it, some don't. There we go. I'm seeing more and more people. So what is so funny is I saw one person, it was like within one breath, they were saying something like, I don't know, they were kind of criticizing the thoughts that you know, we were, I don't know, about kind of like the Indigenous American things. But now this person is, have changed their names and the way that they're presenting themselves under Indigenous stuff, and I love it. And so that's another thing. It's like we need to leave room for people to come around, and that's good too. I'm excited about that. It's what we need in this moment. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Friday or Saturday. Well, or just, when is a good time to talk to people? When do you think people would get to catch them? I don't know. I'm realizing that sometimes these are just going to have to be when I can get to them. You know what I mean? I try to schedule that. I don't want people to be like, oh, she said she was going to be on and she didn't get on for a long time. Sometimes stuff comes up. I'm, got so much on my plate. And I'm trying to, I'm realizing that it's like so much also. I want to be able to talk to you guys, but I'm also putting it in work on the foundation and the site and, connecting with folks and stuff like that. Like there's a whole other part of my life besides the, reconnecting with people too. And I'm like now realizing it's like, okay, how do I need to actively make room for, for this. There's a lot of stuff going on. I am actively making room. Not to say I'm not. Okay. But I'm just realizing it's going to take some finagling, some real planning. Okay. Let me see. Well, I know some people are, but all they have to realize is there was only, this makes it very clear about them. They're only being black and white. There aren't any natives here. And all the people have to realize is they've taught us that so that they can continue to steal our land and our identity. That's really what it is. And and they're saying that so they can also kind of like justify us being so oppressed and overworked in this system. Because if we understood who we were, we'd be like, this is bullshit. Why? This is like, why would I be working so much in my home? This is our home. You know what I mean? And it's not to say, because it's like, even if we went to tribal living and stuff, there would be stuff to do. Okay. We still need to teach the children. We need to fit. And not to say that we want to necessarily live super. It depends on everybody can do things, whatever they want. But I'm just saying, it's not trying to, I don't know. People can be free. I want to be free. I am free. Okay. But no, I think that's another big part about American history that they don't teach is that we were originally considered free inhabitants. Okay. And even by 1790, those who were called enslaved, so-called enslaved, it's like like I said, I know from my own personal history, when I was getting on these plantations, it was a lot of times by treaties. Okay. And then 2, by 1790, that was already over a century of time for them to, capture us as what they call prisoners of war. There's a lot. Maybe I'll do some videos about that, about the breakdown of, especially for our Virginia family, okay, so that you can understand how we ended up on the prominent plantations like Mount Vernon. Some of my ancestors go back to Mount Vernon and Billy Lee and West Ford, and how they ended up there per the treaty, as well as I have connections about how CNN, I do believe it was CNN who was calling the slaves on Mount Vernon prisoners of war. Okay. The only people that the Virginians were warring with at that time before that was, the Powhatan Wars, the Anglo-Powhatan Wars. And so it's just, and also, all of the historical facts that talk about how, what do you call it? About how they were, using our children, we would give them to the schools and the plantations in exchange for the tribe's good behavior. They were hostages, again, prisoners of war. So it's like, who was on the plantations, okay? And that's another way you can understand, there's so much. I'm getting into all that now. I love you guys. I'm going to see you guys soon. I'm going to charge my laptop. I'll see you guys. People take Negro and Black. They think, oh, Africans. No, exactly. And they're not, that's why we have to just continue to set the record straight. There is no such thing as a Black American. We are the only Americans, no one else. Our identity and land has been stolen. Aboriginals are melanated. Very true. No, exactly. And the only, we use those terms because it's like, otherwise. And okay, and I feel like found a good balance with that, especially with the FAIRE, because when the FAIRE, when we're referring to ourselves, we're just saying original Americans, which is good. But sometimes we still have to say Black Americans so that they can know we're talking about us, about them. You know what I mean? The people who are still in the mindset of Black or African or whatnot. We still have to reach out for them. We need to know where we're going fishing at. We need to meet them where they're at, and then we can reel them back in and let them know the truth. And one thing like that made that very obvious for me was, like how you identify, like for schools, right? Putting my kids, okay, we're American Indians, right? Or just Americans, right? But I realized that when it comes to Black programming and events and stuff like that, we didn't end up on that contact list. So if teachers or whoever were trying to contact all of the Black families to invite them on an event to watch a movie or go on a hike, or you know what I mean, which are some cool things that we're doing. Like I'm trying to explain to you guys that we need to get involved now more than ever with our children, our schools, so that we can teach people who we are. You know what I mean? It's okay for us to share that information with our children and our schools. They have every right to be able to stand on their heritage, and the FAIRE is here to be able to support us in those efforts. But what I was going to say is, by me saying and not putting Black on my thing, I missed out. I didn't miss out because mind you, I'm helping to organize and facilitate this. You know what I mean? These events. That's how I realized, oh, I'm not on these lists. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, it's just a little bit. It's like sometimes we have to realize that I don't know, not to be so rigid with the phrases and stuff, because sometimes all it is it's used to divide us. Do we know who we're talking about? We're talking about do you know what I mean? Not you specifically, but I'm talking about as far as like, I don't know. That was just a lesson I had learned. I don't know about you guys, but I realized that. And I was like, oh, okay. And maybe that's what's going on with us too. We're not even realizing that there's so many things that could be happening at, schools or in community events, but we might not be tapped into it because we're no longer identifying as Black. Which I get to. Like I said, I'm in that boat as not identifying. I identify as an American, okay? Black is an adjective, which is a misnomer. Black is how they still are. No, it's very true. Very true, truth seeker. That's what we're saying. And we've been under this Black umbrella for some time, but if you ask our elders, Black was a fighting word back then. You didn't call somebody Black. It's like, what does that mean? It's not tied to anything. Same thing with like colored or Negro or nigger, and now even African American. We're not from Africa. We're the original Americans. That's what the foundation is about. In fact, I'll play that last one. Thank you, Truth Seeker. I appreciate that because it's like, I'm wanting to bridge out so that we can talk to the people who need to hear this the most. Okay. Not to say that we don't, but it's like, I'm sure a lot of us, we talk about this, we watch videos about this, you know what I mean? We're doing our own personal history. And then there's a whole lot of us who we have written off or been like, okay, well, they're not getting it and stuff like that, who needs a fresh look at everything, and what we're doing is we're trying our best to solidify and stamp who we are so that when we go out and we talk to these people who is like our family, our community members who are like, no, this happened. We came here on the ships and all this stuff. And it's like, no, we're breaking this down now, trying to wake our people up by saying Black Americans. Then there must be white Americans. So whites now feel they are American and we are just Black people. Okay, cool. You guys check out Truth Seeker too. He said you have my own channel as well, Truth Seeking Network. Oh, I love that. And then it says we're breaking this down. Exactly. When that's what we're talking about too, as far as the foundation. So I'll play that really quickly, guys. What he's talking about is the fact that we're the original Americans, and that goes into literally the definition of American. How it was originally the Aboriginals are the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Okay, that's the switch. So maybe I'll play this one first, and then I'll play the rest of the identifiers. Ooh, let me see. This is how we're tying it into DNA.
For years, we've been told a version of history that simply isn't true. But what if I told you that the proof of who the true original Americans are has been hiding in plain sight? Inside Ancestry.com's own data. Most people only pay attention to the ancestral regions in their DNA results. But there's another section most people overlook, something called ancestral journeys. And this section tells a very different story. In the region known as Indigenous America's North, there are only 2 community groups listed: African American and European settler. No Native American communities. None. That means, according to Ancestry.com, the only groups historically rooted in this land are Black Americans and European settlers. This lines up exactly with the 1828 Webster's Dictionary definition of American, which states an American is a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So who are the present-day, copper-colored Aboriginals from these lands? The African Americans. And who are the descendants of the European arrivals? The settlers. How do we know this is the truth? Because in Ancestry.com's own data, they are giving Black Americans the nationality American, while labeling their oppressors settlers. The truth has been in front of us all along. This isn't just about one group. This is about correcting history for everyone. Ancestry.com's own research confirms what has been hidden for centuries, but they refuse to acknowledge it. That's why we're calling on Ancestry.com to tell the truth. Our petition demands full transparency and an end to this misclassification. Because history belongs to all of us, and it's time to set the record straight. Sign the petition now. Share this video. Because the truth matters to all of us.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just standing on we're using the test results to connect us to the Aboriginal or the copper color races, because people could say, okay, you're the original Americans, yeah, but how do you know? Okay, this is one way that we could definitely know. Okay, one, there aren't any other people besides us and the settlers, and they're not calling settlers Americans. They specifically left that for us. Now, what we need to do is talk to the rest of our nation and let them know the fact that we continue on with this African narrative. That's the only thing that's keeping us away from actually fully reclaiming our nationality as a nation. You see what I'm saying? To say that, no, we're actually the Americans, is if we ditch this part, they keep wanting to put African on it. And mind you, that is something that's just happened recently. Okay, we weren't always even called African Americans. Back in the day, they were calling us colored or Negroes. Okay, or you know what I mean, for a time, Black as well. It's time we get to I love seeing you on here telling that. I'm excited too. Do you like it? Are you liking it? I'll show you the identifiers, and you, like I said, you guys, they're on the site. Share these with people. You can allow this to strengthen your channel. Everything, like, it's not just the channel, but I'm talking about anybody's ministry. People are talking about this. You know what I mean? We have to let people know. And this is like I said, undeniable proof that all of our people should have the access to. You know what I mean? So that they can tell people. Let me see. Here you guys go.
Who are the original Americans? History has been rewritten, but the truth remains. The Foundation for American Indian Restoration and Education, or simply the FAIRE, is here to set the record straight. Our foundation is simple. The FAIRE stands on its signature Original American identifiers to define what an Original American truly is. Our mission is to uncover the truth, reconnect descendants, and restore a lost heritage. Through our FAIRE Original American identifiers, we reveal the true identity of the Original American. The Emblem of America. The Emblem of America is an allegorical figure from the British Museum and is noted to be an ethnic representation of the American people. So what exactly is an American? The definition of American. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary defines an American as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Colonial and U.S. Census records. Early U.S. Census records show that for the first 70 years, only two racial categories existed: colored and white. Who were these colored people? The FAIRE asserts that they were the original inhabitants of this land. DNA. Ancestry.com DNA analysis labels the only communities for the region of indigenous North America as either African American or European settler. Surprisingly, there aren't any Native American communities listed for these lands, leaving the African American communities, the only ones given the nationality American, proving that those labeled as African American today are the true original Americans. Your ancestry holds the key. The FAIRE encourages everyone to research their genealogy, connect with historical records, and rediscover their true roots. Every generation carries a piece of the story, one that deserves to be reclaimed. Join us in reclaiming history. Visit the FAIRE today. Connect with your roots and restore your identity.
Yay, setting the record straight. Okay. I love it. So you guys, like I said, make sure you hit the notification bell, join our site. Like I said, we're talking about how we can continue our advocacy work. The original Americans, we need advocates now more than ever. We're facing erasure. We're facing essentially genocide. I realize it's like, no, we have to be strong because right now they are literally trying to, completely erase us out of history, like we weren't really already here. like our whole history wasn't just colonization. Okay, like the fact that they try to switch things around is just it's unacceptable. Yes, I love this. I love that. It's time to get another ride. I'm serious about this too because it's like, why should we have to be second-class citizens, exiles in our own land, like Martin Luther King said? Oh, I could play that really quickly and then we'll leave. I keep saying that, but I'm realizing it's like, this is also on the channel. And you guys, like I said, youtube.com/FAIRE, FAIRE rules, RULES. If you guys want.
MLK and the Civil Rights Act of 1968.
I Have a Dream speech. August 28, 1963.
100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. His own land.
You heard that right.
An exile in his own land.
Dr. King told you exactly what it was. But did you listen? MLK's assassination shook the nation, and the government needed to calm the people down. Their solution? The Civil Rights Act of 1968, sold to Black Americans as progress, but in reality, it was something else entirely. This law, passed in the wake of the MLK riots, was said to be for civil rights, but if you look at the actual text, there is no mention of Black, Negro, colored, or African American. Not once. Let's search for Black. 0 results. Let's search for Negro. 0 results. Let's search for colored. 0 results. Let's search for African. 0 results. But what happens when we search for Indian? 135 times. That's why it's also called the Indian Bill of Rights. So ask yourself, if this law was meant to pacify your people, but the only ones mentioned are Indians, then who are you? The truth has always been in plain sight. It's time to set the record straight. Join the FAIRE. Know who you are. Reclaim your identity.
Okay, yeah. So that's another thing. It's like, I mean, all we have to do is continue to share. And I know there's so many people sharing, so there's so many people already involved in the fight, and we need that. Like I said, we need thousands of Angela Davises and Huey P. Newtons and Michael Jackson too. Shoot, Michael Jackson was a G, but I've been Martin Luther King. We need Malcolm X. Okay, we need leaders, Black leaders, real Black leaders. And that's another thing. I'm getting into a lot. I already can tell my laptop's about to die, so let me log off. And I will see you guys soon. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and share and subscribe if you guys are digging the vibe and you guys are watching. Thank you guys again. Thanks for joining us thanks for joining us today at the Hush Harbor. Okay, that's what we're calling our late night streams, the Hush Harbor, fashioned after what our ancestors used to call their late night secret meetings, where they used to be able to talk that real talk. Hey, Chamani Rose? Hi, you're welcome. I hope you guys like it. It's for us. It's for us, as we're trying to tell our parents, our family, our schools. Okay. Like I said, I have so many ways for us to be able to connect and how we can interface with our community. And so there will be more. The more that we just need to tap in. We're warming up. We're getting back out there. I love you guys. Make sure you guys hit the notification bell so that you guys don't miss these future broadcasts and stuff like that. Oh my God, George, I can't wait to hear that. He said, before the European forefathers came, we were here. That's what I'm saying. I think he started to realize, and mind you, but that's, people get so, it was irritating me earlier watching his videos, because even before he really understood the truth, he was always with that shit. Okay. And so it's like, people kind of they say, oh, well, he led us into this burning building. It's like, okay, we, especially right now. Okay. And that's another reason why we cannot just be innocent bystanders and people just audience members. We all have a right, and not only that, we have a duty to stand up, and we need to make our presence known. We need to make these stands, because when it's just one person and you don't know who you can trust, and not just that, it's like, nobody's there to protect our leaders. When stuff goes down, there's nobody there. And that's another thing. It's like, he might not have had, I don't know. I felt like when he understood what was going on, he definitely said it. And I mean, even the one I was listening to, he was like, yeah, they say that, Africa's our homeland and whatnot. He was like, but I'm staying right here in the United States of America. He was like, no, we're not going anywhere. And that's another thing. There's this big push right now that a lot of Black Americans are like, we're done with this. We're going to have to leave the country and all this stuff. And it's like, that is what they want. They want to finally be rid of us. because they know that the longer that we're here, it reminds me of that one. And this is giving me, I'm realizing all the other things that I need to make sure I clip up so we can get ready for this, so that we can share it easily. But the Descendants movies. So that's another part. We'll get into the Descendants next. We're getting into Trolls and then probably Zombies and then the Descendants. But that song, this is all hands on deck, right? Calling out to lost boys and girls, I'm getting tired of the disrespect. In that song, she says, and leaving us here will be your last regret. Okay, they left us here, you know, we're here. They realized they couldn't kill us all, like we were talking about earlier in the stream with the Oh Susanna, and how the electric river magnified and killed 500 N-words. Okay, they were trying to get rid of us by the mass because we were the inhabitants. We were here. We were widespread, and they were only taking little colonies. And that's why they were defending it for their lives. Like, don't you niggers come in here, because we were taking this place over. They were conquering us in our lands. Okay. Peace and love, Shumani. It's so good to see you. I'm so excited. Girl, I'm coming on you. I'm excited, and we're setting the record straight because it's like we need that. We need to continue to stand because, like I said in the last live stream, our heritage, our identity is not up for debate. Okay, and now we have definitive proof. We know exactly who we are, and we are in an incredible position right now. And so I want to be able to, I want to wake us all up, make sure that we realize we're back, we're doing this, and then we'll get into some stuff, American era style. So that's why I'm asking you guys, who needs the messages? Okay, what groups can we reach out to so that we can, start this conversation and stuff? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, please do some comments because I think that'll help get the algorithm so that we can let our subscribers and stuff know that we're back. Okay, so that when we start to talk to these people and we get back onto my Facebook, we're all ready to support and to branch out too. Oh, also because we were talking about ambassadors. Eventually, I'm talking about eventually we'll get into the talks about that so that you guys can continue on this work even further outside of sharing the videos and the website, so that we can. I don't know. It's a long story. Oh, now I'm babbling. Y'all know me. Since once we start talking, it's hard to get me off, child. But yes, bingo. I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, okay, yeah. Don't let me forget. Let me get that right, because Lord knows I was already about to forget about this. His last church speech. I'm having like chills thinking about that. What's up, visitors from Florida? Okay, what am I looking for? Okay, I can't wait. Like hearing it's like killing my heart right now, because we've been living under such, all these lies for so many years. I love our people so much. Just thinking about everything and how it's affected us. And sorry, am I even on here still? Child. Trying to get more of my family more involved because they know. See, there we go. Hey, what's good, Ocean Soul? Said Lisa Cabrera and True Royal. What is that in reference to? Let me know. Church. Okay, yeah. Last church speech. MLK. Last speech before he died. This is like haunting me. How long is this, Brother George? Add them. Okay, are these channels? Let me have to check them out. Let me add these into my lists or notes. They're on YouTube. Okay, cool. I'm trying to get more family, more focusing. So she's sharing these channels with us, guys. So you're talking about I've been to the mountaintop. Okay, the full one is 40. I was about to say we could play a little bit if it was 3 minutes or something. But maybe I'll even share it with this on our community tab so we can all watch. Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna watch myself. it's like not, I mean, I'm just feeling like I'm getting chills thinking about how we feel when we understand the truth, how it affects each one of us differently. Like, what is that? Like, do you guys remember how you first felt when you started to understand that what everything that we learned was a lie? And I don't know, I think I'm just kind of like tearing. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about just like, I don't know. MLK was brave, and he was a G. People need to put some respect on his name, honestly. And people aren't perfect. But each one of us needs to do what we can so that we can get this stuff going on. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to watch this on my own time. I will share this with the community. Thank you so much, Brother George, for letting me know about that. Thank you to each and every one of you guys who joined us for our first Hush Harbor. We'll be doing this more nights. Like, I'm realizing, like, okay, we can start doing this at night, and then, you know, more people know that we're on at nighttime too. That'll be good. Cool. I'm loving it. Thank you. So I don't think it was the Make It to the Mountaintop speech. He was at a Masonic lodge for that. I think it was before that at a church. I say it on that woman, Sister Bethy's channel. She played most of it. Okay, awesome. Let me see. Wow. I love listening to these old speeches too, because it's like, I don't know, hearing what we were fighting for then, and realizing that, I mean, I don't know, now it's only about, you know, people, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's become, we're not fighting for freedom anymore. Nobody's fighting for freedom, but we used to fight for freedom. And I don't hear anybody, I don't, maybe not. I'm also a hermit too. So maybe you guys can tell me that people are fighting for freedom. But I'm talking about just like, I don't know. After only to get a scholar, connect with the chief. Okay, I'm loving Chimani. So okay, see, this is what I'm saying. You're like our what do you call that? Oh, that would be something like a minister of connections and outreach and networking, because you got it on. Like, you're like, I already know. I've been vetting out people. This is who we need to connect with. I'm loving that, because it's like, you know, how much more empowered are we if we all get on the same page and we stand on being the Americans. We continue to teach. Like, I mean, oh God, this is the beginning of our restoration. And it's going to take each and it's going to take all of us to come together. I'm so excited about this. You guys, I'm literally back on the same hype. It's almost like I didn't even take this whole entire journey over these past few years, because I'm thinking about all the other things like that we were talking about back in the day, about how we were going to connect and get, you know what I mean? But that's just all we have to do. And then really, once other people, I mean, think about, like I said, even our, you know, more of our some semi-mainstream Black leaders who don't understand this yet. All we have to do is get them to understand. You know what I mean? And we gotta just tell people. I know people are like, we've been trying. They're hard-headed. I mean, I get it too. But I have faith. I'm like, no, there's no way that you're gonna be able to disprove what we're bringing. Okay. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for, like I said, being part of the Hush Harbor and our front lines. These are our front lines. Everybody who are tapping in these initial broadcasts. We are looking to you guys to continue to spread the word from the foundation, teaching people about what's going on. And that's about it. Sign the petitions. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or soon. I don't want to promise. I'm sorry about that. I've been like, stop promising, because you don't know. Hey, what's good, Misael? You know, and I'm trying not to, but it's like, you know, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to make promises, but I will be here soon. I'm not going to keep leaving for such long times, because I know it's like we're creating this movement. We got to keep the momentum going. I'm excited about that. Okay. We're living in the most amazing time, family, the most amazing time, tribe, people. I don't know. It's almost like the more you understand about English and legalese and stuff. It's like you can't even talk. I'm trying to connect, but also especially as we continue to connect with other people, we're gonna have to loosen up on that because they're not going to understand it. That's another reason why I think they start to get upset too. Partially because, you know what I just picked up spiritually a little bit was that some people might get irritated with us, not because we're telling the truth or saying something that they're so like opposed to. It's more because they feel like, what are you, like some sort of know-it-all? Do you think you know it all, or you know what I mean? We might be making people feel uneducated or ignorant, and so when that's not our problem, but it's also like we have to understand why people get so okay. Oh, thank you so much, Rochelle. You guys can all, and that's a great idea. I should put it up for everybody. If you guys want to reach me, you can get me at Christian Stovall at FAIRE.org. And I'll be getting back to, if anybody has messaged us about connecting with the fair, I will be getting back to you guys this weekend. And that's just it, y'all. And let me know. Like I said, you can type down in the comment box below, I'm an American, or, you know, just maybe some people, what do you guys like? Do you guys like these new videos? Please join us on the fair. Share that with your friends and family. It should be a hub for us to be able to connect. Descendants will be able to connect. Awesome. Thank you, Ocean Soul. Give them suggestions what to read and look up. Are you talking about our people? Well, yeah, that's good, and I'm loving. Yeah, we will. We'll be able to. I've been thinking about that too, and that's why I'm happy Ocean Soul's coming through with all this, you know, all the suggestions and stuff like that. Because eventually, because it's going back to what I was thinking about in the many years ago when we were talking about being an authority on things, as far as like we have our stance on all types of events and situations that affect our people and our families, like laws, like okay, so it could be as it could be along the lines of like what we're talking about with the cigar shop Indian or the ancestry.com, that advocacy sort of work. It could also get into like our stance on laws. It could get local, like political and stuff like that. Like we'll be able to say, hey, the fair suggests that just like in, let me finish that statement and then I'll say, the fair suggests that we vote yes on this prop, no on this prop, things like that. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, another reason why we have to gather for this, because it shouldn't be up to what I feel like, you know what I mean? This is a collective. This is a gathering of souls. And we'll be able to come together on consensuses, and then because our people don't know, and other communities do this all the time. Okay, in my local area, the Hispanic community, they have little leaflets out every time it's time to vote, and they send them in Spanish and English, you know what I mean, to all of their, you know what I mean, all of the people within that community. We have a huge Chinese American community here, and they put out their leaflets of who they want to vote for and all of these things. Like, and us as Black people, and maybe there are organizations that are doing that, you know what I mean? But we are coming from the position of the original Americans. And I mean, once Black people understand, there's no better position to hold than to be an original, right? Because all of the people, it turns our fight, our struggle into, it's like, it's truly opening the door for communication, because it's like, at the end of the day, all white people aren't evil. I know tons of white people in our community who are very wonderful, upstanding citizens and people. And I believe that when they hear the truth, they're going to have a choice to either support what's right or continue on to do, you know, what's wrong. People have a choice. And when we paint it out so clearly, like we're doing here at the fair, it gives people that option. And I feel like, honestly, we're going to we're going to gain an enormous support. People are going to, just like I said in the one of these past live streams, just like they supported Black Lives Matter, or we stood with Ukraine, people all over the world are going to stand with the original Americans. And it's cool. It's cool. Okay. Like, let everybody, you know what I mean, around the world first, especially because, you know, if we're in a Jubilee year that goes for, you know, and indigenous people all over, and not just even, I mean, because it's like, honestly, especially the way somebody was just I was watching a video, somebody had sent me something, and they were talking about there's only one human race, right? And if people do, like, even if they pass for white and stuff now, people come from original people, they just have forgotten who those people were, and to stand on that, you know what I mean? I'm getting into a lot of stuff right now, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, when it's a time to be free, other nations are going to look to us. We are Big Mama, we're Big Brother. We are, you know, people are going to want to see what the American Negroes are doing. What are the original Americans doing? How are they handling the situation right now? Okay. So you guys, we should all be very, I'm personally super honored and excited to join in with you guys in this movement and to set the record straight. Okay. Cause you guys know how I, how I am. I'm loving that. Oshasol says I'm Choctaw. Okay. Oh, Big Judah has, okay. I'm familiar with Big Judah. I think he's from California, right? So I haven't. I need to get back into. I haven't been on, like YouTube, even other, just any channels in such a long time, as far as, like researching the truth and stuff like that. I'm getting back into it now, so because I'm trying to, I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? What do people think? But I think that's good, right? In order to come with something new and a fresh perspective on stuff, sometimes you have to just like the hermit. Like I said, I'm a hermit. Okay, so when we're thinking about the hermit card and the tarot deck, right? It's very introspective. It's, you know, going within to find that light. So I went in to find light. Now we're back, and this is the way God is showing us to, you know, as far as from our corner here, from this channel, how we're going to go about aiding in the enlightenment. Okay, I realize it's like, oh, we gotta get back in there. But also what we're gonna do is we're gonna shore up the base, and then start to do our advocacy work in our communities. That's really what this is aiming towards. That's what Spirit has been showing me. It's like, okay, no, our people are being, because like, you don't understand, we're not being represented even in Black spaces. Okay. Because everything is becoming so Afrocentric. There is no, you know, it's not to say there's no space. I do feel like there's space. We just have to create it. We have to take up that space as far as from the position of the original Americans. And that's what we're doing. We are empowering us to do that in our communities. I know I'm just repeating now. We have businesses. Mm-hmm. What you talking about? What business? I'm realizing I'm saying, I'm like, well, the people who's going to think like you think you know everything type people. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm realizing that and I don't even know if I finished that thought either. But like, you know, some people might just be kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to listen to what you have to say right now because I feel like you know something more than I do, and I don't know. But we have to get away from any of that too, because the time is of the essence, okay? Like right now, people people are on a rampage from the position of I don't know. We'll talk about that next time. No, but and if you're talking about just businesses and period, one, yeah, we do have business, and even in the past, we had